I think the question should be rephrased. It's what it's like to be Filipino.
Just over a minute, Alex Eala did what the WTA rankings said was out of reach. She took apart one of the fastest servers in women's tennis in straight sets. But the real surprise is what lies ahead. The 21-year-old from the Philippines is now only one victory away from a huge $7.43 million prize, a win that could reshape sports history in her country. Eala has been on a remarkable run of payback, getting even with her last 6 opponents by beating them all. And that run kept going in Toronto when she beat Alycia Parks, the strong American who holds a share of the record for the fastest serve in WTA history at 129 miles per hour. But this was not just any win. It was a striking show of strength, accuracy, calmness, and bold tennis from Eala, who showed once more that she can step up when the stakes are highest. Now the big question is, can Alex Eala carry this energy forward? Master the WTA 1000 stage and take home what might end up as the largest payout in Philippine tennis history? Inside So Stadium, the crowd did not just show up for another tennis game. They came to see something that could mark the start of a historic campaign. They came to see history. And Eala did not let them down. In only 1 hour and 12 minutes, the Filipina star took apart Alycia Parks 6-3, 6-4 to move into the third round of the Canadian Open, keeping alive a run of payback that has turned into one of the key storylines of her breakthrough year. Parks had beaten Eala in their one prior matchup, giving her a tough first-round exit at the Australian Open in January after Eala took the first set 6-0, only for Parks to rally and win 6-3, 6-2. That loss clearly stuck with Eala, but the player who showed up in Toronto seemed like a whole different person. "I've gotten better as a player since that time," Eala said after the match. And the scoreboard proved her right from the opening point. Her strategy was clear from the start. Take away Parks's strongest asset. The American is known for one of the most fearsome serves in women's tennis, and shares the WTA record for the fastest serve ever clocked at 129 miles per hour. That same weapon had overpowered Eala in Melbourne. But this time, Eala was prepared, reading the serve more effectively, handling the pace, stretching out points, and turning Parks's biggest advantage into a liability as she seized command of the match right from the first games. But this time around, the Filipinos returning was spot on. Eala positioned herself boldly inside the baseline, striking the ball early, redirecting Parks's force, and denying the American any consistent flow. The first set soon turned into a showcase of smart strategy as Eala broke Parks twice, converting 4 of her 9 break chances while taking an impressive 63.3% of the points on Parks's second serve. That number showed just how exposed the American was whenever her first serve did not come in with full power. With each Eala winner, the heavily Filipino crowd inside the arena roared, making the match feel like a lively home event, even though it was thousands of miles away from the Philippines. The second set followed a similar pattern. Parks pushed back and held her serve strongly early, but Eala's steadiness, reading of the game, and non-stop pressure proved too much to overcome. The 21-year-old kept her cool when the match got tight, broke Parks in the 9th game, and then smoothly served out the win to secure her spot in the third round. With that impressive victory, Eala stretched her winning run to 6 matches and proved once more that the player who showed up in Toronto is a much more threatening version than the one Parks beat in Melbourne. The win also gave Alex her 8th victory over a top 10 player this year, strengthening her status as one of the most exciting up-and-coming talents on the WTA circuit. With the large WTA 1000 prize money still within reach, the pressure keeps building, and a possible third-round matchup against defending Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova adds more drama to what is quickly becoming a memorable Toronto campaign. But what would you do if you had finally gotten back at every loss that once weighed on you? For Alex Eala, the answer seems straightforward. Keep battling, keep trusting, and keep showing that the young girl who once arrived in frilly socks and glowing sneakers has come way too far to let her history shape what lies ahead. The win over Parks was convincing. The payback felt good. But when Eala left the court in Toronto, her mind was not really on the final numbers. It was focused on the path that had carried her there. "I've grown as a player when you look at where I am now versus the start of the year," Eala said before the tournament, thinking about the change that has happened over the last few months, and the signs of that shift were visible in her self-belief, her choices on the court, her calm in tough moments, and above all in how she now walks onto the court expecting to compete with the top players. 7 months ago, Alex Eala had been the one left heartbroken in Melbourne, but now she was the player walking off at SoBi Stadium as the victor. The statistics showed just how much she had transformed. The 21-year-old from Quezon City had not only gotten revenge for her Australian Open loss to Alycia Parks, but she had done so without ever appearing truly in danger. Parks, who shares the record for the fastest serve in WTA history at 129 miles per hour, had once used that explosive shot to overpower Eala. But this time, the Filipina's elite return game fully shut it down. Her steadiness, patience, reading of the play, and smart decision-making proved that sheer power alone was no longer enough to get past her. And this shift came just weeks after what I called a career-changing achievement in Washington, where she earned her first WTA title. "It's been a wild 24 hours, Eala admitted, her voice still carrying the feeling of everything she had gone through, explaining that her mind had been constantly shifting between celebrating her breakthrough and getting ready for what came next. Still, despite all the attention around her, Eala stayed remarkably down to earth. She arrived at the DC Open as a rising talent looking for her big moment. And she left Washington as a champion with a whole new level of confidence behind her. But Eala knows the road is far from finished. The huge WTA 1000 stage now lies ahead with a large prize purse and the chance of a meeting against defending Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova on the horizon. Even so, Eala stays focused on what she can manage rather than getting caught up in the buzz around her. "I'm learning how to handle it," she said when talking about the quick shift from Washington to Toronto, explaining that she was gradually getting used to it while making the most of the little time she had between events. And Toronto has already begun to feel like another home for the Filipina star. With tickets all sold out and a large Filipino community in the Greater Toronto area expected to fill the arena, Eala is welcoming the amazing support around her. What started as a breakthrough run in Washington has now grown into something much larger. A wave of fans tracking her from event to event, believing that this could mark the start of a historic new era for Philippine tennis. "It's great to see that the Filipino community is really coming out," Eala said, adding that seeing so many fans enjoying tennis could help expand the sport even more. And that support arrives at a time when everything she has worked toward suddenly feels close enough to reach. So what would you do if the biggest chance of your career was finally right there in front of you? For Alex Eala, the answer has stayed simple. Keep battling, keep trusting, and keep showing that the girl who once played in frilly socks and glowing shoes has come way too far to quit now. Alycia Parks's 129 miles per hour serve can finish points before they really start. A shot that has scared opponents since she arrived on the scene. But Eala had prepared well. On Wednesday night in Toronto, she turned one of the most feared weapons in women's tennis into a tool that Parks just could not count on. Parks shares the record for the fastest serve in WTA history with Venus Williams after firing a 129 miles per hour rocket at the 2021 US Open. And normally that kind of power leads to easy holds, quick points, and heavy pressure on the returner. But against Eala, the situation shifted entirely. Instead of retreating from the pace, the Filipina moved forward, read the serve early, attacked the return, and forced Parks into rallies she did not want, making sheer power look far less threatening. But against Eala, the American's strongest asset became her biggest weakness. The tactical battle had essentially been decided before the first point even started, because Eala had taken lessons from their Australian Open meeting in January when Parks came back from a 6-0 opening set loss to win 3-6, 6-2. Back then, Parks's raw power had taken over whenever the Filipina's level dropped. But this time, Eala showed up with a completely different approach. She set up boldly inside the baseline on returns, struck the ball early, stopped Parks from finding any flow, and kept going after the second serve, revealing the vulnerability that showed up whenever the American's first serve did not go in. The numbers made it clear just how well that plan worked. Eala broke Parks twice in the first set and converted 4 of her 9 break chances throughout the match, but the most revealing figure was 63.3%. The share of points Eala captured against Parks's second serve. Against a player who depends heavily on her first strike to dictate play, that was damaging. Every first serve that missed turned into a chance for Eala to seize control. The difference in playing styles was impossible to miss. Parks, standing 6 feet 1 inch, brought explosive power and first-strike tennis, while the 5 feet 7 inches left-handed Eala relied on angles, steadiness, movement, reading of the play, and non-stop court coverage to take apart her opponent's key strengths. The Filipina had cancelled out the American's power and serving ability, not by trying to out-hit her, but by making every point feel awkward. And for Eala, this win meant much more than just payback. It was confirmation that she could figure out one of the most dangerous weapons on the WTA Tour. So what do you do after shutting down the fastest serve in women's tennis history? You trust your strategy, trust your work, and keep showing that accuracy and patience can beat even the most fearsome power. But Eala knows the next test will require a totally different approach, with reigning Wimbledon champion Linda Noskova possibly waiting on the other side of the bracket. The win over Parks was convincing. The payback was total. But the true reward in Toronto reaches far beyond just one victory, because the WTA 1000 stage gives